We're joined again by Dodgers pro scout Jack Murphy. Jack, thanks again for joining us, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Jack, we brought you on a week ago to talk about the Dodgers championship run. We recorded an episode thinking that the Marlins were going to hire Clayton McCullough that evening. I know Eric and I had spoken about it. You know, when is the news going to drop? We had heard so much about him. It takes a little bit longer than we anticipated, longer than everybody, I think, in South Florida anticipated. Clayton McCullough was announced as the 17th manager in Miami Marlins history on Sunday evening.
In the middle of the witching hour.
In the middle of the witching hour, which it was funny because Toad called me. Red zone, a lot of stuff was going on. The Marlins tried to sneak their hire in underneath everyone's noses. But Jack, you have a ton of familiarity with Clayton. We're just talking off air. He was your manager. You played for him in the Blue Jays organization. You got traded to the Dodgers organization. He was the farm director there. Most recently, you guys worked as colleagues, putting together a world championship run. What can we expect? What do you know about Clayton McCullough, the man, the person, the manager, and now the manager of the Miami Marlins?
Yeah. First and foremost, I just what an incredible opportunity for him. And, I think the sky's the limit. As a person, this guy's off the charts. We obviously, our paths have crossed in professional baseball we've had a ton of overlap. He was the first year I played in Australia. He was the coach the Jays sent out there. We got really close with him, his wife, Jill. I've known him for so long. He's so consistent, right? Just one of the most consistent people that you can ever be around. Positive energy through the roof. Work ethic is top notch. And, the fact that he's interviewed for a lot of jobs and that he's landed in Miami, I think, he lives in Jupiter. He's got a ton of contacts within the organization, people that he's been around for a long time. I think it's going to be a smooth transition. And honestly, the Marlins, they couldn't have picked anybody better.
Jack, one of those touch points you mentioned within the organization is obviously Gabe Kapler. Gabe well. He was the farm director, I believe, or the director of player development when you were with the Dodgers. So Gabe and Clayton have worked together extensively in the Dodgers organization. Obviously, someone that Gabe is familiar with. That transition has to be something that Clayton probably looked for and circled when he was, interviewing for all these managerial jobs. The Miami Marlins are in a tough spot, but it seems like Clayton is the right guy to right the ship. Obviously, the consistency, the energy that he brings to the field. What do you think from a managerial perspective Clayton does exceptionally well that we can look forward to as Marlins fans?
Well, I think, the spot that the Marlins are in it's difficult at the beginning, but, the Rays went through this same process, years back, and now they have a consistently winning product, which is something in the state of Florida that you need. And I think, one of the key components nowadays to managing in the big leagues is being able to develop players at the major league level. And because there's never been a bigger gap between AAA and the big leagues. So you've got to give these guys runway. You got to keep them positive. You have to allow them to fail without crushing their confidence. And Clayton's background in player development, his resume speaks for itself, right? This guy's a two-time, he was running the farm system when we won the World Series in 20. He's the first base coach in 24 when we win the World Series this year. He had a huge hand in the development of all these guys that have come through our system that contributed to both of those world championships. So as someone that can develop players at the major league level, I think that's his best attribute. And I think that's why he's the man for the job right now, especially. And he's going to grow with these players. And that's the new recipe for success in the big leagues.
Jack, when we were doing our research for Clayton McCullough, getting our graphics ready for the managerial announcement, there was a lot of images in the Google image search of Clayton celebrating with Shohei at first base, with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, the star players on the Dodgers. Can you talk a little bit about his relationship with the guys in the locker room? What is he like around the star players versus, maybe some of the Miguel Rojas's and the more unsung heroes on the Dodgers?
Well, yeah, I think it speaks to the consistency of the man, like he treats everybody the same. And that's what those guys, that's what they appreciate. Scott Van Pelt has a quote that he says, you treat the stars like regular people and regular people like stars. And, I think that's the kind of guy Clayton is. He knows what each person needs and he's there to provide that. And, it's so authentic, the interactions that these guys have at first base. I mean, we've all seen it. You can know, when there's tension between a coach and a player. And that's one thing that you just don't see with Clayton. There's no tension there. I mean, these guys are super relaxed around him, from Ohtani to Ben Kasperius, who gets called up. I mean, like he's an open book. He's very transparent. And, ultimately those are the qualities that you need in whatever stage that you're at as an organization.
Jack, I think one of the things that, we definitely identified, Toad and I were talking about this prior to the episode, was the attractiveness of the Marlins job on the surface. 100-loss team, replacing a Skip Schumacher that was a 2023 manager of the year. The Marlins have a ton of pitching coming back, right? You have a guy like Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, Jesus Luzardo. I mean, you have a group of 6 or 7 capable MLB starters, which had to be something that Clayton circled on when he interviewed for the job, that this was something that he'd identified as a strength of the team. His work in the minor leagues, I mean, the Marlins are going to be probably devoid of star players. There's no Shohei Ohtani's, no Mookie Betts, no Freddie Freemans that are going to be on this roster. But the point of player development, can you peel that back a little bit, the gap between AAA and the major league level? I think that's super important. People don't really realize that, a team like the Marlins, where they're really just searching right now for an identity. Peter Bendix has come in, has made some massive trades. That gap between AAA and the major leagues has sort of blended for the Marlins. We've seen so many young guys come up and play. What does that look like from a scout's perspective? What is Clayton's going to, what are we going to look for Clayton to do in those first, 2 or 3 months with a young group of players?
Yeah, I think, touching on a couple of things there, like, first of all, there's been a major youth movement at the major league level, right? For a variety of reasons. Like, we've seen the average age of the major league player continuously to come down over the last 10 years. And when you have that, you're putting yourself in a position that every good player in AAA is in the big leagues, and they sign less and less veteran utility backups for in case somebody gets hurt in the big leagues, and stash those guys in AAA. So if you're performing at the AAA level and you're in an organization that needs help at the major league level, you're in the big leagues. And so now you're seeing these guys that are raking in AAA environments, or they're just, absolutely abusing guys on the mound. Well, they find themselves up and down in the big leagues really quick, or on the waiver wire and going somewhere else. And so you don't see a lot of high-end talent for an extended period of time at that level. So for Clayton, somebody who's understood, like, all right, we got to call this guy up, we got to move this guy down. When you're a farm director, man, that's a thankless job. That's a lot of long nights monitoring who got hurt in tonight's game, how many innings a guy threw, managing innings on the pitching side, getting somebody up the next day from, say you're in Great Lakes and you got to get a guy to Rancho or back and forth like that. You're handling all that. You're touching all of that. So you have a real care for people and people's lives, and understanding that this is a bigger picture here than just getting the win tonight. Like, we've got to make sure that we take care of these guys. That was Kapler, right? Like, I mean, what Gabe Kapler did with the Dodgers player development, that was revolutionary. He had guys not shagging batting practice for the first time. He hired organic chefs to bring.
You guys were taking naps. Everyone was taking naps.
Yeah, right? Everybody did. When I got traded over from the Jays, like, I come in the clubhouse and it's like Bellinger, Verdugo, Willie Calhoun, and Rancho. I'm like 28 years old. These guys are 20, and they're like sleeping at 5 o'clock. I'm like,
hey, don't let Miguel Rojas see that, okay? That's...
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's fine if you're not going to miss a meeting. You know, like, if you're not missing meetings,
fair enough.
It's fine.
It was funny just so people understand. Like the Dodgers were that is so true. How revolutionary Gabe Kapler was. You play the Dodgers in the minor leagues. People are hitting batting practice and there's no one on the field. There's like it's just an empty space. The balls are flying out there, and they were just way ahead of like nutrition, player development, sleep habits. Like sports science was a massive thing in the Dodgers organization. I think it's finally caught on the rest of Major League Baseball, but the Dodgers were definitely first.
Yeah, and that's what Cap does, right? Like he values the emotional health and the physical health above performance, and that's something that Marlins fans have to look forward to. And Clayton is someone that worked hand in hand with him through that process, and the results speak for themselves, right? Like, I mean, the story I have on Clayton that I was drafted in 2009. Clayton was there every year with the Blue Jays. He goes and takes the farm director job with the Dodgers. At the end of that season, I get traded to the Dodgers. And Clayton is like, he's very organized, very tidy. Like, he's always doing what he is supposed to do. This is somebody that is like very disciplined. So going, I've got a button-up shirt, slacks, as I come to the complex from Rancho. I've been with the Dodgers for a week, and I run into Clayton in the locker room, and he's in board shorts and a tank top and flip-flops. And I was like, dude, what's going on? He's like, welcome to LA, baby. Like, this is the most relaxed environment, because all they care about is giving these guys the room to grow as people and players into the best version of themselves. And that's why I'm just so excited to see both Cap and Clayton get an opportunity to work together and have so much impact on a group of players.
Jack, you got me fired up, ready for opening day, man.
Eric hasn't worn any Marlins stuff in a long time. He's got his Marlins jersey on.
I'm ready to go. Coach Mac. Does he have any nicknames we got to be on top of heading into the season?
The nickname is Sile. That's what he prefers to be called. If you're trying to get his attention, he doesn't know you, go, hey, Sile, and that'll get his attention.
When we meet him, when we get our credentials for next season, we're going to go, Sile.
Hopefully
Murphy sent us.
In the old days of Marlins Park, we could probably yell Sile and he'd hear us in the dugout. But I got a feeling that the Marlins, we're going to be visiting Jack in LA this year for the NLCS, Marlins and Dodgers. I'm told.
I hope I'm put on the playoff advance team for the Marlins.
Jack, that was an awesome conversation. I think obviously you have tremendous insight not only to the manager and the coach that Clayton is, but to the person and deeper understanding to what the Marlins actually got here as their next skipper. Jack, as the second time and first recurring guest in Bullpen Mafia history, really appreciate it, man. You got a snazzy little shirt on. I know Eric sent that out there this week. Glad you're able to wear it on air. We appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Dude, I appreciate it. Hey, this is some high quality stuff. I appreciate that.
Hey, you said it, not me, baby.
Hey, the attention to detail is huge. I love it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
all right,
it.
Jack. Thank you, Jack.